Well, Alex, what we know is based on what the survivors have been telling rescuers so far. They said that when the migrants saw a cargo ship that answered their distress call appeared in the distance, they rushed to one side of the vessel, causing it to capsize.
How would you say Italians are handling this mentally?
Well, to be honest, Chuck, well, first of all, good evening. Well, I was very surprised at how well they've been coping with this and how respectful of the rules the Italians, especially the Romans here, have been of the rules. The minister, during a dramatic press conference, said that those restrictions will be applied to the whole of the country, including, of course, Rome. What does that mean? Well, the Prime Minister is telling all Italians, all 60 million of them, not to get out of their houses unless they have a real emergency.
NBC's Claudio Lavanga is in Brussels. Claudio, what can you tell us?
Craig, locals here woke up to a surreal scenario. Brussels, the usually quiet home of European institutions, woke up to a military zone.
NBC's Claudio Lavanga is there for us. Claudio, good morning. Tell us about this great honor for these three Americans.
Good morning, Jose. Well, it was a very short and simple ceremony, but it was full of significance. Now, the Legion of Honor is the highest honor anybody could receive here in France. There will be a minute of silence held here on La Rambla and Plaza de Catalunya, where I'm standing. Well, Lawrence, it certainly will, especially after today's press conference from the Aviation Authority, where they said that they did have that audio file extracted from the black box, but all they said was that they could hear the voices in the cockpit, they could hear the sound, but they had to interpret them. Well, Alex, of course, we will attend that memorial that will take place right behind me in the International Arrivals Terminal about 3 hours from now, so we'll give you more on that later. Back to you. Well, Jose, we've seen some pretty disturbing pictures of a family in a station nearby, about 30 miles here from Budapest, being dragged on the railway from Hungary. Of asylum seekers tired of camping out outside of the main train station here in Budapest have just decided to walk to the border with Austria and then all the way to Germany. The day after Pope Francis called for a total ban on nuclear weapons during his visits to Hiroshima and Nagasaki, on Monday he also questioned the use of nuclear power plants. Oh, I can see smoke.
Claudio, let me interrupt you. We see smoke. We hear cheers.
I can't quite figure it out. It looks white.
It looks white.
Yes, we do. We were just giving some details by Federico Lombardi, the spokesperson for the Vatican and the Pope here in Havana about 20 minutes ago. Now he confirmed that the Pope met with Fidel Castro at his own private home. The Pope is gone. He's heading back to the airport and is going to fly back to Rome tonight. But millions of pilgrims are still here, and they have turned this into an enormous beach party. Well, let me tell you that according to the latest polls, a no vote is ahead of a yes vote. That means that most of the Greek people are against the conditions that were set out by the European creditors, and they are ready to face an uncertain economic future, but in order to preserve pride and dignity.
Let's get the latest from NBC's Claudia Lavanga, who is there in Venice. Claudia, the high tide is the concern today, as we can see.
Good morning, Francis. Well, you can see what's happening here right behind me. This is not a Venice canal. This is a walkway, and usually it's dry, but the tide came back into the city once again for the 5th day in a row, and this time it's a lot higher.
Claudio Lavanga is in Florence, Italy with the latest. Claudio, good morning.
Well, that's a good morning, where some of the passengers said that it felt like being on the Titanic. And when you see the dynamic of this accident, you'll understand why.
Our Italy-based correspondent, Claudio Lavanga, is standing by now to bring us the very latest. Claudio, good evening.
Good evening, Lester. Well, from here in Porto Santo Stefano, the passengers are now being taken to the city of Rome, from which they will go back to their home countries much earlier, of course, than they expected.
Claudio Lavanga is there. Claudio, good morning to you.
Good morning, Savannah. Well, it took 2.5 years and more than $1 billion. But finally, if it all goes according to plan, the Concordia will be towed away in about a week's time.
Well, we're joined now from Rome by the Italian journalist Claudio Lavanga.
Really, Berlusconi, in a way, has always been the Marmite of Italy. Either you love him or you hate him.
Looks like the Marmite has its lid on.